Everyone, welcome back. This is going to be a thrilling episode. I like to think very thrilling episode of the show, and we're going to be talking about some current events. My name's Jake Dwyer. I'm your host. He's a dog. I mean, there's no way around it. He's definitely a dog. He's not a cat. He doesn't have many cat-like tendencies. What's in the glass? Well, what's in the glass is Jameson, and I quickly fell in love with Jameson. I'm pretty new to the bourbon world. I fully concede. There's many people who are going to know more about it, and they know everything about everything. And I'm not that sophisticated of a bourbon drinker yet, but I will tell you, man, Jameson really won over my heart and soul when I discovered it. So there is that. It is Jake endorsed, whatever that's worth. Not much. So today's video, everyone, is going to be on a little bit of current events and doing our best. I will be the first to concede. Look, I'm not a predictor of markets. I'm not high level and sophisticated enough in this game to be able to tell you what's going to happen in the real estate market. But what I can do is try to point out data points and little indicators that might tell us something. Does it tell us everything? Does it tell us what's going to happen in 2022? I don't know, guys. Like, you know, truth be told, I don't know. But I do have some stats here and a couple interesting points that would seem to maybe point us in a little bit of a direction, right? And I'm going to also tell you there's going to be plenty of things that I say in these kind of weekly little market predictions and things like that that are going to wind up being wrong. I have no issue being wrong publicly on camera. I don't have a big enough ego to have a problem with that. So let's start with a couple of basics here. And given that we are going to be talking about some data points, I'm going to be referencing some notes. So home prices are up about 15% from this time last year, which is crazy. And while it's a crazy market, I think one thing to keep in mind is, hey, look, this time last year, now July, this time last year, this is right when the market was like screaming back, right? We'd been in lockdown with COVID thing for what, 3 months or so. And the market was pretty dead from what I was seeing for at least a period of time. And right around this time was when it was surging back, right? So yeah, it's up 15%, but it is compared to a time last year when it was like, it was still coming back. Now, the second half of 2021, we could actually, everyone, see the market cool off a little bit, okay? And I'm gonna validate that with a couple little stats here that I think that we should all be paying attention to that are interesting. So the potential cool off that I'm speaking of relates to new mortgage applications because they are down. And this is a very recent thing as of like the last couple of weeks. So mortgage applications are 17% lower than they were this time last year. 17%, that's a good amount, right? So that's a good amount of drop in new mortgage applications. That said, my counter argument to that would be, well, in July of 2021, that's when, hey, the market had kind of been dead for about 2-3 months with COVID restrictions. And now in July, everyone was coming back. So there was like a built up demand from those months of people not being out looking for houses. So I think there could have been a little bit of an inflated mortgage application rate, if you will, this time last year because we were coming off of that cooling off period, right? I'm using a little bit of bro science there, but I would not be surprised if I'm correct. Weekly mortgage demand is down 6.9%. Now, I will tell you, I'm filming this about 5 days after I pulled these stats. So my stats are gonna be about a week and a half old when you're actually seeing this video, okay? But pay attention to that. Weekly mortgage demand on new applications down 6.9%. That's a good drop because that's real-time relevant, like right here, right now, what's going on with mortgage applications. So new mortgage applications are the lowest levels they've been since last May. And that does seem to indicate a little bit, right? Because mortgage applications are going to be an indicator of how many buyers are coming into the market, right? In order for you to go shop and buy a home, right? Well, you're going to need to take out a mortgage application. So if less people are taking out mortgage applications, that would imply that there's this impending fewer or smaller buyer, pool. Therefore, there could be a little bit of a drop in demand. This does get to be a little bit interesting, you see. So again, not predicting markets, but I'm telling you that that's some interesting stuff I'd pay attention to. So why are the mortgage application rates dropping? Well, interest rates are up a little bit, and I think that could be a likely I think that could be a likely scenario, but I think the other thing that we're seeing is a lot of the drop is going to be coming from that first-time home buyers market, because the first-time home buyer is seeing the price of homes increase so rapidly that they're starting to go, man, I think I'm just getting priced out of this market. So I don't think that you're seeing the mortgage applications drop off from like the second, third, fourth time home buyer. I think you're seeing it drop off from the first time home buyer, because they're going, okay, interest rates going up a little, nothing crazy, right? They're still great, but going up just a tad. And I just feel like I'm getting priced out. So maybe I'm just going to sit back right now and kind of ride this thing out and see how it shakes out over the next 6 months or something like that. So could the market balance out? Well, the answer for me is maybe. We know that mortgage applications are down. We seem to have a little bit more inventory hitting the market. That is statistically accurate, but it's also, I'm feeling it just as a boots on the ground perspective here. Like if I'm looking at my listing alerts, right? So for like different clients, you say, hey, I want to start looking for a house. I'm like, perfect. What's your criteria? We plug all that into our system. And that way every day we're going to get an alert that says, hey, look, within your criteria, here's the new stuff that just hit the market. So compared to, even 3-4 months ago, how many listing, houses I was seeing pop up in these alerts versus now, I am seeing a little bit of an uptick in the inventory now. It's still bad. Like the inventory is still definitely bad, but it's a little bit better. We could see the market begin to bounce out a little bit because building material, like cost of building materials, is starting to come down a little. Like lumber starting to chill out a little, which thank God, right? Because my other hobbies are shooting, and to buy 2x4s for my shooting targets got very expensive, and I'm petty and cheap, and that bothers me that I'm paying more than I should be paying for shooting 2x4s. So hey, all of that could balance it out just a little bit. Would it take a little time? Yeah, it'd probably take a little bit of time, but I mean, look, in theory, we could be, second half of this year starting to see that cool off a little bit. The real bummer of it is, hey, look, the people most likely getting impacted by this are first-time buyers, and that's a bummer, right? Because it is that American dream of like to buy your first house or buy a house, but first-time buyers, like, it'd be a bummer to see people like that being the ones that aren't taking out applications because they just feel like you're getting priced out. That would be kind of a sad day for all of us, I think. But I also do think it's kind of likely that that's happening. But hey, look, again, my last disclaimer, not a predictor of markets, but we should look at those data points and we can begin to draw some rough idea of, hey, look, well, if less people are taking out applications, that means less people are going to be buying. So the demand drops a little as potentially the supply increases a little because building materials are cooling off, a little bit more inventory hitting the market, right? So it's basic supply and demand stuff. A little less demand, a little bit more supply could begin to balance it out. And I will be the first to concede, I'm perfectly fine with this market chilling out a little bit and balancing out, because right now it's just too crazy in favor of sellers. So that's my 2 cents on that, everyone. Basics, if you're here, if you're enjoying this, if you get a couple nuggets here and there, subscribe to the channel. Our goal is to get to 1,000. I'd say within about 90 days. I'm pretty realistic on my projections. If within about 90 days we get to 1,000, I'm going to be perfectly comfortable with that. So help us get to 1,000. Subscribe to the channel. And then if you actually need real estate help, 1911syndicate.com. We operate in a lot of different places. I'm here in Utah, but we've got, people all over from Texas and Virginia and the Colorados and the Californias. And so if you need help, you can always check that out. We are straight shooters. We'll give you an honest assessment. If we can help, we'll tell you we can help. If we can't, we'll say, sorry, dude, wish we could be of more service, but we can't. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for joining. Pet your dogs, everyone, and apply for mortgage applications. See you later.